Do you guys remember just last year in October, 1 year ago, during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, the internet exploded when a woman went live, accusing her husband of abuse. His once pristine reputation seemed to crumble overnight, but just when it seemed like his life was over, he released a bombshell video, the 911 call where she claimed he followed her with a GUN. This video turned the tables, exposing the web of deceit and manipulation that rocked the world. Today, we are diving into the very footage that transformed her from victim to accused in an instant. Buckle up as we dissect the power of nonverbal cues, vocal tones, and words in this ridiculous story. As we analyze this video, it's important to keep in mind that communication is 55% nonverbal, 38% tone, and 7% words. We're going to watch this video 3 times. One with sound and sight, the next one with no sound at all, and the next one only sound. We're going to review each video and determine if her body language, tone, and her words line up with what we are seeing. All right, let's go.
404-416-1389. Brianna Hampton.
She just pepper sprayed me. She just pepper sprayed me for no reason in my house.
I can't keep following me.
No, I ain't following you
got
nowhere.
a gun.
No, I don't have a gun. You really doing this lying stuff again? I'm recording everything.
Please hurry.
Yeah, please hurry, because she's crazy. Please hurry, she's crazy.
Thank you.
Please hurry up, she's crazy.
I can't keep following
No, I'm not. I'm upstairs. You downstairs. Do what you do. No, I'm not. Do what you do. I'm way up here. Do what you do.
Okay, so that's looking at it with the sights and the sounds. That's as the video was recorded. All right. So now we're going to look at it again with just the sights. We're going to take away the sound. Now I want you guys to watch closely. Does it appear that she's as afraid as she is saying she is? Does it appear that she is really being followed with a gun? I want you to ask yourself as you watch this video, if you were being followed with a gun, would this be your body language? So we're looking at her body language this time, okay? Does her body language line up with something that is consistent of being followed with a gun? Something that is consistent with being in imminent danger where you think someone could end your life right now on the spot. Also, when she walks through the door, I want you to take notice that there's nothing in that man's hand. Okay, you're gonna see his hand. So for anybody who's watching the video who says, how do you know he didn't have anything in his hand? Well, you can tell by her body language that she doesn't appear to be in imminent danger as if a person is standing in front of her with a GUN. But you also notice that his hand is empty. So he's holding one phone, he's holding the phone with one hand recording, and he's empty-handed, okay, in the other hand. So let's watch with zero sound. This is the part where she is saying, he's got a gun. He's following me, okay? Now, you see her breathing heavily. So that shows that she is emotional right now. She is in a distraught state. However, is she being followed with a gun, right? Is she in imminent danger? Is there a reason to call 911 and tell them you're being followed with a gun? Let's continue. Does she appear to be being followed with a gun? Look at this now. Look at her, just looking at her phone, still talking. And then she's gonna walk past him. She doesn't look in fear at all that he would even touch her, that he has a gun or anything in that nature, right? She's walking towards him to get around the bed. She could have crawled around the other side of the bed. Now right here, you see his hand. There's nothing in his hand. And he is asking, are you gonna do that lying stuff again? Which indicated that she had did this before. Now, as this story went on, it was clear that she had done this before. He said it himself. He made that known himself. So let's continue. She's walking at a slow pace. She's not appearing to run. You have to imagine, what would you be doing if a person literally had a gun and you were literally in fear that this man would end you? Okay? So From that, I determined that the body language did not line up at all with what her words were saying. Her verbal words were, he was following me with a gun. But her body language did not line up with someone that would be being followed with a gun, right? Now, we're gonna listen again, and we're gonna listen with no sound. With no sights. Let's just hear it. Let's close our eyes and hear this. Does she sound like she is dead serious, as if she is in imminent danger, as if someone is following her with a gun? Let's listen. Let's close our eyes and just listen.
404-416-1389. Brianna Hampton.
She just pepper sprayed me. She just pepper sprayed me for no reason in my house.
Now, when you hear her talking, 444, Brianna Hampton, you hear the distraughtness, right? And we know that women can call us, our daughters, our sisters can call us with this distraught sound, triggering our damsel in distress protection mode, right? And so we're quick to run out and protect them in this moment. But this is emotion, okay? So let's keep listening to the tone and the emotion behind the verbal words, okay? Let's go.
I can't keep following me.
No, I ain't following you
He got a
nowhere.
gun.
No, I don't have a gun.
Right there. That didn't sound believable. And he got a gun. It'd have been like, oh, he got a gun. You would think she'd be moving quickly. You would hear like fear in her voice. You still hear that she's in pain, that she's hurting, but this doesn't sound like someone who is being chased with a gun. And if I were on the phone listening, I would think to myself, this person is hurting. This person is sad, emotional, but or likely angry as well. That obviously was an argument that went on. But it doesn't sound like she's in fear that she'll lose her life, y'all. Think about this. Listen.
You really doing this lying stuff again? I'm recording everything.
Please hurry.
Yeah, please hurry, because she's crazy. Please hurry, she's crazy.
You can tell the cry is pushed out to convince the person that I'm in danger, that I'm sad. It's the crying. You understand this? The emotions are being used to manipulate here. Let's continue.
Thank you.
Please hurry up, she's crazy.
I can't keep following
No, I'm not. I'm upstairs. You downstairs. Do what you do. No, I'm not. Do what you do. I'm way up here. Do what you do.
And you can hear her calling for her dad when she got downstairs. Her dad was in there the entire time. You can hear his frustration with her doing that again. And he even tells her, I'm recording the whole thing. Now, mind you, when the police officers get there, there was nothing found that he had abused her. In fact, they found that she had abused him. They asked him if he wanted to press charges. He said no. Okay. Now, never once have they pressed charges on him when she called them out, proving that he is not an abuser. Now, what also proves that he is not an abuser was the stories that she told initially, that she came home, that she was in a mood where she didn't want to be bothered, and he asked for love and affection, and she refused. He asked her to help him unpack, and she refused. She storms out. She doesn't want to be bothered. She goes in there to watch Love and Hip Hop. None of those behaviors are consistent with how you would treat someone who was abusing you. You wouldn't treat him like that, okay? If you knew that it was a chance that you could be hit, that you could be physically assaulted, you wouldn't say, I'm tired, I don't feel like it, get somebody else to do it, right? You wouldn't say, I don't feel like cleaning, I don't feel like that. No, don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. I don't want to talk, I'm walking out, right? So now we're going to discuss why in the world someone would lie like that, okay? All right, for all of you who are saying, why would someone lie like that? Why would someone call the cops and say things like that if it weren't true? So I'm going to give you guys some reason that someone may be motivated to lie, okay? Here's one, fear. People may lie about abuse out of the fear of facing the consequences of the truth, such as legal repercussions or social stigma. So just imagine being in a relationship and that relationship coming to an end. Many people don't know how to walk away from that relationship and just say, you know, it failed. They have to demonize, weaponize gossip to destroy the person that they are in a relationship with because they got rejected. And they don't want the society to know that they had a failed relationship. Believe it or not, it's self-preservation. They do that a lot of times because they are hurt and angry and still want the relationship, but because they can no longer have it, they say, why not just destroy that whole person and everything around it? All right? The next reason is, well, self-preservation. Lying can be a form of self-preservation. as individuals may want to protect their own reputation, status, or interests. Do you understand? The next one is manipulation. Some individuals resort to false accusations as a means of manipulation or controlling others, seeking revenge or gaining an advantage in a personal relationship. Do you understand? Now, here are some of the harms of false accusations and misuse of governmental services, okay? Misallocation of resources. False accusations divert crucial police and government resources away from the genuine emergencies, potentially endangering lives. Not only that, the people that you called on, you've endangered their lives, because if those authorities get there and believe everything that you're saying, they may react irrationally. And we've seen this happen when people have lost their lives behind a false 911 call. All right, so here's another one. The legal consequences. Making false allegations can lead to legal repercussions, and it can also undermine the credibility of true claims of abuse. So if you're speaking up on behalf of domestic violence victims, but you are making false claims, you are actually doing them an injustice, because you are invalidating them. Because your false claims is indications of lies and deceit. So again, it will undermine the credibility of the claims of abuse, not just for you, but for everyone claiming abuse. And this is why a lot of women say, you're supposed to believe women. Why don't you believe women? Well, because so many have lied. It's unsafe to just believe anyone the first time they tell you anything. And no, women shouldn't get that privilege, especially when they have been shown to lie about abuse for reasons that benefit them. Okay, let's continue. The next reason is the erosion of trust. False accusations can erode public trust in the justice system and discourage legitimate victims from seeking help when needed. Think about the amount of people who may be going through actual abuse and now are afraid to say it because people may shove it right back in their face. How we know you're not lying? What did you do? What did you do to deserve it? All of these insensitive responses when someone is telling you something that happened to them. This happens because so many people have been known to lie. Okay, we don't want to see our brothers, our sons, our fathers, our uncles be destroyed with claims of abuse, all by means of protecting a woman from being abused. Each story should be listened to carefully. All right, now let's talk about some constructive ways of addressing anger and conflict in relationships. Clearly the lady was distraught. Clearly there had been a disagreement. Clearly there had been a blow up inside the home. All right, things likely said that hurt, things likely done that maybe hurt each other's feelings, right? Let's continue. Here's a way to ensure that your relationship don't come to that, family, okay? Open communication. Healthy relationships involve open and honest communication to address the issues and conflicts as they arise. If you're not addressing each person's issues as they arrive, the person may feel invalidated. This will make them fight to be seen. This is when they may raise their voice, talk at you, complain a lot because they're telling you something is wrong and you're not listening. You're either belittling, flipping it back on them, or just invalidating them all together, telling them that you're the only person in the world that would be feeling that way and you're crazy for feeling that way and and whatnot. Okay, here's another one. Conflict resolution skills. Learning effective conflict resolution skills can help individuals navigate disagreements without resorting to false accusations or harmful behavior. Conflict resolution skills. When there is conflict, how do we resolve it? Not when there is conflict, how do we focus on it and blow it up and create more arguments? So if someone says something that is out of the way, if someone raises their voice, should you approach them in a confrontational way to explore the issue with confrontation, belittle them for what they just said, or are you going to respond in a way to resolve the conflict? Wait a second, you must be feeling angry. You must be feeling upset. Let's calm down for a second. Let's not yell at each other. Are you trying to resolve it or are you trying to inflame it? Which position are you playing here? And if you're saying, well, they're the ones inflaming it and I'm only responding back with inflammatory responses because they're doing that, well, that means you're going tit for tat, and that means that nobody is practicing conflict resolution. So how can you expect any problem to discontinue or be resolved if no one is willing to practice resolution? If both people are prideful, if both people refuse to back down, if both people refuse to compromise. Let's continue. Seeking professional help, family. When you cannot communicate with your spouse, when you cannot resolve conflict, you need to seek professional help. In cases of intense anger or ongoing conflicts, seeking the assistance of a trained therapist or counselor can provide constructive ways to manage emotions and resolve issues. So instead of calling that 911 call, instead of resorting to hitting, instead of resorting to going and telling family members lies and going public to Facebook or social media with lies and accusations, instead call someone who is licensed. Get a family member who you trust, who you know is not biased, who is invested in seeing the relationship last long term and seeing the children be in a harmonic home. Talk to them together. Don't run and give a one-sided perspective of the argument. You talk to the person and say, look, since we can't get any resolution here, can we go to my grandmother? Can we go to my brother? Can we go to my sister? Can we go to the counselor who we both hired? Can we go to the person who has no bias and who's invested in seeing this thing work and seeing resolution? Can we do that? This is you guys making an active approach to prevent it from getting this far. Because once it gets this far and the public has it, man, that's a fire you just can't put out. And now all of a sudden it's, hey, everybody, stop talking about my business. Well, your business was put out there because you were highly emotional and you didn't know what to do at the moment. So you gave it to the public and asked them their advice. Well, what was their advice? Destroy your husband, cripple the relationships of the children and that man therein, destroy his reputation, and not just with claims of abuse, but by calling him broke, by criticizing his body parts, by telling him he would never be anything, that he was never anything to begin with. What does that have to do with abuse? So for people who say, well, she was just sharing her story of abuse, well then what was it about to talk about his penis? What was that? What was it about to criticize his career and where it was at the time? What was that? What was it to tell his daughter to go public? What was it to message his daughter and say, when are you gonna go live and tell your story? What is it to comment under the post with his daughter saying, yeah, you walk away from your dad, you don't gotta talk to him? What is that? What does that have to do with abuse? Now, this has everything to do with emotion. When people get caught up in their emotions, they fight, man. And men and women have different ways of fighting. So when you're dealing with domestic violence, you can't just approach it from a perspective of what happens to a woman during domestic violence. You have to look at domestic violence as a whole, what happens to men and women alike under the umbrella of domestic violence. So how are men likely to attack? Physical, verbal. How are women likely to attack? Verbally, family. Talking about you behind your back with gossip, accusations and lies, phony police calls. That's how they fight, family. Where men are more confrontational as they are in their strength, their physical strength. Women are more deceitful and tactful. They set traps, family. So domestic violence affects us all. Families are destroyed by men hitting women and women lying on men. Women hitting men and men lying on women. So when you see it, you got to confront it if you're going to be against domestic violence. Either you're against it or you're not. If you're only saying I'm against it when it happens to women, you are a misandrist. Look the word up. It's the opposite of misogynist. It means you have an built or deep hate for men. It's time we do better, family. Why do I say we have to do better? Because as soon as you guys recognized that she was lying in her abuse allegations, you guys just stopped listening to her, treated her like a little boy that cried wolf, but you did not seek her out to hold her accountable for abusing and trying to ruin the life, potentially even take the life of her ex-husband. Nobody came at her about turning the children and weaponizing the children against him. Since this has happened, family, did you know that she has been convicted of revenge porn? Did you know my brother did a boxer commercial and she posted a picture of him nude because she was angry about him doing a boxing commercial when they had separated and she had a whole nother man. They went to court for it and she got convicted, family. She has a record now. The whole world went from calling her Miss LaTruth to Lionia. They literally have a nickname for her. Do you understand? The day that she got convicted, she literally got in her car and drove home with her father in the front seat, talking junk to him again, calling him shrimp again, threatening him, laughing about what she had done to him, mocking him for having a problem with it. Get this one. Then she goes to a salon the next day where she buys shrimps, shrimp plates for everyone in there. And they all criticize him together, calling him shrimp. She also lied and said he put a hit on her. Do you understand? You ask any content creator, family, who has spoke on this situation, and you know how people do side-by-sides and do reviews of situations like this online. Not with lie on you. No, she will target you, pull your address, pull your criminal backgrounds. She will pull your family members up. She will call your family members and threaten to end their lives if you don't stop talking about her. That's how she responds to criticism. Now, she uploaded this abuse story, and she's also done all the things that followed it. She's the one who racked up the charges, but she doesn't want you talking about it. However, she believes in spreading the word about someone who is being abused or someone who is being abusive, because when she claimed she was being abused, she said it's okay to speak your truth. But when the world is speaking their truth against this person who's being an abuser, who's literally claiming to stand up for DV victims, when she got found out that she was not a DV victim, she started violating, victimizing all the people who disagreed with her. So it's clear that she handles things in a violent, abusive way. Right now, they're threatening to do things that are unreal. Go dig up people's backgrounds, dig up people's families' backgrounds, their parents, and humiliate them publicly. All because people are criticizing her for the behaviors that she actually did. This is why we got to address this issue. Okay? Now, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I'm going to be doing a video daily on the subject of domestic violence. Not on her, but on the subject of domestic violence. I wanted to be clear that this is a problem that affects all of us, man and woman, and our whole communities. Okay? Each Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a live where we deal with the topics of domestic violence, how to avoid the situation, what is all considered abuse and domestic violence, so we can have a good understanding of that. We're going to talk about what to do in the instance of domestic violence or conflict to prevent domestic violence. We're going to talk about how it affects the family. We're going to talk about healthy ways of communicating. We're going to talk about healthy ways of healing from the trauma. We're going to talk about how to protect yourself from DV and how to escape your abuser. Okay? We're going to talk about what's the right ways to confront abuse, what's the wrong ways, and is claiming someone abused you when they did not abuse you, is that in fact abuse? I would say it is, because it ruins a person's reputation, it ruins their name, it could actually get them put in jail, it can get them actually physically hurt by the people that love that person who accused them of abuse. We shouldn't be out here lying on each other. And we have to recognize what DV actually is, and every time we see it, we have to treat it as such. It is a problem, and it has to discontinue. I look forward to talking with you guys. October the 1st, look forward to my first video, and we'll go from there, family. Love you guys. Be evolution. Be the change that you want to see. No candle loses its flame from lighting another. And if you were to ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, it is in that chaos that you have found yourself. Peace.